Welcome to today's episode of Manifesto Watch Podcast. I'm your host, Clarice, and today we're diving into a difficult but important discussion: why it will be nearly impossible to save Kenyan citizen Margaret Nduta from execution in Vietnam. This case has sparked national outrage, diplomatic efforts, and emotional appeals, but when you look at the facts, the reality is grim. Let's break it down. 1. Vietnam's strict drug laws. Vietnam has one of the strictest anti-drug laws in the world. Their legal system takes a zero-tolerance approach to drug trafficking, and under their laws, possession of just 100 grams of heroin or cocaine is punishable by death. Nduta was caught with over 2 kilograms of cocaine at Ho Chi Minh City Airport. That's 20 times the threshold for a death sentence. In Vietnam's courts, there is a little room for appeal in such cases, and historically, very few death sentences for drug-related crimes have been overturned. Number 2. Kenya's limited diplomatic influence. Unlike Western nations that have strong diplomatic leverage, Kenya has minimal influence over Vietnam's legal system. There are no established prisoner transfer treaties or diplomatic agreements between the two countries that could allow Kenya to negotiate a release or extradition. In past cases, even powerful nations like Australia failed to prevent the execution of their citizens in countries like Indonesia, despite massive diplomatic efforts. If Australia couldn't stop an execution, how much leverage does Kenya really have? Number 3, Vietnam's track record of executing foreigners. Some may hope that Vietnam will show leniency because Margaret is a foreign national, but history says otherwise. Vietnam has executed foreign drug traffickers from Nigeria, China, Malaysia, and other countries. The legal system does not grant special treatment based on nationality. Simply put, if you traffic drugs in Vietnam, you will likely face the full force of the law no matter where you come from. Number 4, political and public pressure in Vietnam. Another major obstacle is Vietnam's internal politics and public perception. Drug abuse is a serious issue in Vietnam, and their government uses strict punishment as a deterrent. Granting clemency to Margaret Nduta could be seen as a sign of weakness. If the government were to pardon her, they will risk setting a precedent that could encourage more traffickers to seek diplomatic intervention. Given this reality, the Vietnamese government is unlikely to bow to external pressure. Number 5, weak legal defense and late intervention. Margaret's case also suffers from a lack of a strong legal defense. Her argument that she didn't know the drugs were in the suitcase is one of the most common defenses used by accused traffickers. Unfortunately, Vietnamese courts rarely accept this claim without solid evidence. Additionally, Kenya's intervention came late in the process. By the time officials started negotiations, the case had already reached a near final stage. Once a drug-related death sentence is confirmed in Vietnam, getting it overturned is almost unheard of. Conclusion. So, is there any hope? While Kenya's government is making efforts, the odds remain heavily stacked against Nduta. This case is a harsh reminder that when traveling abroad, ignorance of the law is not defense, and some mistakes come with irreversible consequences. What do you think? Should Kenya be doing more, or is this simply the price of violating strict foreign laws? Let's continue the conversation. Share your thoughts and stay tuned for our next episode.